One of the most basic edit options we have with still images is the ability to crop an image, to take an oblong image and create a square or even a vertical at times. But we don't generally think about that when we're working with video. But using Photoshop and the motion section, we can do just that. Now we could kill two birds with one stone here, no pun intended. I could be thinking creatively, and I want to make a more vertical video from this, so I can have two inset videos running over maybe a background video. But as a byproduct of that cropping, I'm going to make this video much smaller, and that's in our interest too. So let's select the video. I'm going to right click and I'm going to open this with Photoshop CC. Now I want to use what we're about to create here in a later video. So all I'm going to say at this particular point is that I need 15 seconds of this particular video. I'll explain my reasonings behind that when we get to the video in question, where we look at placing video over video. Now we've already looked at the techniques for doing this, so I have taken the end part of the video and I've dragged it back so that I've now got about 15 seconds of this particular video. Before I crop it, I may want to do a little bit of image editing via those adjustment layers. Let me go straight to the crop here. I'm going to select it and click within it. Looking up at the top of the screen, I've got some values here from a previous video, so I do need to clear those, because what I want is the ability to make a freehand crop, meaning I want to bring this into that side, I want to bring this in on that side, and I want something like that. It's a nice vertical shape, but the one thing I'm not sure of at the moment is whether the bird is going to break out of this or not. I don't think so. But we can also use Ctrl Z if we apply it, which is what I'm going to do next, and then go to the start and press play. Because as we look at the 15 seconds of our video, I just want to make sure that I've not cropped it too tight. It doesn't look too bad, but now we've got the opportunity to decide if we want a little more space one side or the other. Now I think I would like to make a little bit of an adjustment. I think I could afford to come in a little bit on the right and maybe stretch this a little bit to the left. I can use that little white area there as a marker. So I'm going to go to my layers here. I've got my history in place, so I can go back to where I trimmed the end of the clip and I can reapply my crop. And what I was thinking of was perhaps just coming a little bit further that way, but maybe I could make it a bit tighter this way, so I'm keeping a good bit of composition, but I've got the shape that I require. Now just to be sure, I have just reset my cursor and press play and watch the video once again, just to make sure my second go at the crop is about right and I'm happy with it. Later on, when we use this video with another one of the same shape and create video within video, you'll notice that I do a reasonable amount of planning. Nothing that's too difficult, but it actually saves us time in the long run. But one of the things I'll be thinking of as well is if I've got a video here and I'm going to have two vertical videos playing side by side, what size is my slideshow? Well, in height I've got 1080 pixels to play with, but I happen to have a personal view, and I think most people would agree, that if we create a video or another image that's exactly 1080 high but it's vertical like this, it doesn't actually look that attractive. It seems to look much better on the eye if we make the video or the inset image smaller than the height of the slideshow. And I found if we're working with 1080, 950 pixels seems to work about right. So I'm going to select that as the vertical size for this image. Now I'm so used to working with still images that I keep calling my videos images, and I did just a few seconds ago. But what I want to do now is to reduce the size of this. So if I go to my image size, if we change the values here to pixels, and I want to make sure that the width and the height is linked together. Most of the time the link is in place by default. I must have unlinked that for a particular reason, and it always remembers the last thing we did. But there's the 1080 height that I want to change. And with these two linked, of course, if I drop that to 950, it means when the video plays in the slideshow, it's not going to touch the top edge or the bottom edge. Much more visually attractive. And of course, with the height and width linked together, it adjusts the width automatically. So when I click OK, it's asking me if I want to transform the video layer because it has to convert it into a smart object. No problem, just asked it to convert. With the video created, now we can export it. Now just before I do export and render this particular video, it may be a good idea if we go to the image and the image size menu and just make a note on a piece of paper of the height and width of that particular video. Because when I open up the next one, I want it to be exactly the same size. Then I can use the parameters at the top of the screen and I can crop directly to exactly the same size. Now one thing to remember once we start to render the video is, firstly, I've given this a different name so I can easily locate it. But the most important thing is to make sure that when we create it, we have the correct values in here. And there's another reason to just jot them down on a piece of paper beside us: 823 in width and 950 in height. Once the render process completed, I have opened up Windows Explorer so we can see both the original video and the current one that we cropped and trimmed. If I highlight the original and we look down here, we can see it was 35 seconds in length and 172 megabyte. Here we can see a bit of a difference. We can see now after we trimmed it back to 15 seconds and also cropped away a lot of detail we didn't want, we've now got a file size of just under 23 meg, and we've got confirmation to the right that the width and height is just what we set: 950 in height, 822 in width. Now when we get to the section where we put all of this together with video within video, then we're also going to optimize all three of those video clips, both the background and this one we've just created and the one that's going to be beside it.